Hello, everyone. How's it going? This is Immigration Attorney Moumita. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is Tuesday. I am a day late in doing my Monday coffee with Moumita. I apologize for anyone who was waiting to watch me yesterday, but I hope you're catching this today. And let me know how everyone's doing. I know that it's a little bit on the later side today as well. It's 6 o'clock here in New York. So I wanted to bring up a very important topic that I've been coming across in a lot of my consultations. Number one, I am having a lot of people tell me that they had never heard about VAWA, they had never heard about a self petition until they started watching my live streams or watching my videos, and they never knew that there might be an avenue for relief for them to get a green card or for them to get legal status. And for those of you who are watching this, please make sure you share my videos, make sure you share my live streams, because I do try to, give information about certain case types, certain possibilities, certain news that can really, really help others out. So I had a call with a lovely person today who learned about a certain case type that I do that he never knew that was even possible for him. And I believe his friend actually alerted him to the case. So please share information. And also, if you're tuning in, you're watching me, please give me a follow. Please give me a thumbs up. Please also subscribe to my YouTube page. That's it. So let's jump right into it. Let's just see what questions I have. And thank you to those of you who are joining today. Jainal, hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Okay, so let's see what questions we have. And as a reminder, I am live streaming to 4 different platforms right now, to my YouTube page, Facebook page, TikTok, and Instagram. So the questions kind of come in fast. If I can't answer you today, then please forgive me, and please make sure you join in next week. Okay, so let's just see the first question. So I have a question from Julia, who's asking, have I heard when New York City immigration courts will open? Julia, thank you so much for watching. So here's what I believe. I do not believe that the court in New York for immigration, and also I don't believe that the majority of courts will be reopening properly until probably next year. But as of right now, the court's opening is postponed until October 30th. It's important to note that every 2 weeks now, the EOIR, which stands for the Executive Office for Immigration Review, which is the official immigration court, they announce every 2 weeks until what date the reopening will be postponed to. But they also have this chart up on their website that says that all courts are basically postponed until this date, which as of today is October 30th, unless there's a status that states otherwise. So if you go to their operational status site, then it'll tell you this little blurb, and then it gives a chart of every single immigration court in the country. And it will say whether it's open for filing, whether it's open only for detained cases, or if it's closed. So if you do have an immigration hearing coming up, that's scheduled, up until October 30th. It's basically, it might be postponed. Make sure you check that status, and every court's different. Just like, with most things with immigration, there's never really a straight answer, unfortunately, Julia, but make sure you check that. And I'll try to put up the link later on this. Okay, next question I have, I'm going to take it from YouTube, from Kareen, who's asking, I'm living in Jamaica and I'm waiting for an interview from December. The NVC contacted me and I'm waiting for an interview and I can't hear anything. Okay, so Kareen, I'm so sorry you're waiting a long time. I just spoke with somebody earlier today regarding the fact that NVC had already processed all the documents and they were just waiting and they're getting very upset and frustrated and they're worried that they can't be with their family. Yes, it is taking a long time. And you just have to keep waiting, because please remember that the embassies and consulates have largely been closed, and they only resumed some interviews about a month or 2 months ago. And at this point, they are only doing emergency or expedited interviews. So Karine, if you do need to expedite your interview for some sort of medical or humanitarian reason, then you can request it in writing. But otherwise, you might have to keep waiting. Amir, hi, nice to see you here. Mark B is asking, can I get Vietnam to open up? I don't have power to do any of that. Okay, so I wish, for everyone out there, I know that this shutdown is preventing you from coming here or preventing you from seeing your families, and I'm really sorry about that. I guess we just have to have some patience. So I have a question from True Pasca who's asking how to expedite my asylum. So if you have an asylum case pending at at the asylum office, then what you can do is request them in writing to expedite. If you have a case in court, then you can ask the judge in writing to advance your hearing date. But it is pretty hard because, again, everything is very backed up and everything's taking a long time. So Juanillo Ramirez is asking, when are the citizenship prices going up? That's a great question. So the fees were supposed to go up on October 2nd. And as of right now, the fee increase has been enjoined. It's enjoined. I don't know how long it will last. If it does go up, the citizenship application fee is going up from $725 to like $1,170. Make sure you file. If you're eligible to file your citizenship application, don't delay, because you never know when the court is going to make another ruling and then the fees are going to go back up and then it's going to be a big mess. So Juanillo, I hope that helps. We don't know exactly when the fees will go up. Just make sure you get your application filed as soon as you can. Don't delay. I think the number one thing that I can say to anyone is, if you're waiting to file an immigration application, don't delay. And I know that many people are scared because it's Trump, and it's just bad overall. But immigration takes time. Immigration takes time. It generally takes sometimes years to be able to get anything. The only thing that can reliably kind of come a little bit quickly is the work permit. But sometimes you're not even eligible to get a work permit until other things are filed, and it just takes time. So if you're waiting around, don't wait. Talk to an attorney. Okay. Okay. So let's see what other questions I have. And thank you so much to everyone who's joining. If you're just popping in right now, thank you for joining me. For me, it's the end of the day. For some of you who are in California or Texas or other states, it's a little bit earlier. So thank you for joining in. Okay. So I have a question from Rahman, who's asking, I applied for asylum and I have 2 US citizen kids, but my clock has not yet started. Do you think I can get a work permit? So unfortunately, right now, if your clock has not even started for asylum, I mean, at this point, there's a question about whether we still have to comply with the 150-day clock, or if there's no clock and it's a straight 1 year. But if it hasn't even started, then I'm not too sure. I can't really answer the question for you, Rahman, but if you want to talk more, I will need to see some documents, and hopefully I can help you then. Okay, so I'm going to wait. Guys, this is your opportunity if you have a question. All right, so I have a question here from Ruby Red, who's asking for an adjustment of status application. How long does it take for the interview to be scheduled? That is a great question, Ruby. So how long it takes for your adjustment of status interview. Adjustment of status means green card application, essentially, okay? And you're only able to file adjustment of status if you're here in the US. You cannot file it if you're outside the US. How long it takes for you to get your interview scheduled depends on where you live. For example, I live in New York City, and we have 4 offices here. Each of them has a different waiting time for this interview because each of them has a different amount of cases that they have. The more cases an office has, the busier that office and that location is, the longer it will take for you to have your interview. We have 4 offices here in New York. There's one office that's about 1 hour away. Their caseload is a little bit less, and we can get their interviews for our care. But you come 30 miles away, and it takes us like a year. So it really depends on where you live, Ruby. I hope that helps. I have a question here on TikTok from Lil Awake, who's asking, my parents came here in 1988 to the US, no crimes, no nothing on their record. Can they fix your status? I'm 22. It's a great question. If you are here, even if you entered unlawfully, even if you've been here for 20, 25, 30 years, and you've never fixed your status, or you tried to and it didn't work before, give me a call, especially if you have a child who's at least 21. There is a way to fix the status, okay? So either there's a couple of different processes that can be done. Not everyone, it's important to realize that not everyone qualifies for everything. but I check with all of my clients first to see if it's possible to fix their status without them having to leave the US, because no one wants to be separated for, God knows how long it might take, if you leave the country. So I always first check to see if it's possible to do certain case types where they don't have to leave. Obviously, not everyone's going to qualify. And if you don't qualify, then I will offer other solutions to you if I can, okay? So Little Awake, you can have your parents give me a call. I would love to talk to them and see if there's a way that I can help them, okay? Justin K saying, hi, I called your office to make an appointment. Someone said they'll call me back, but no one called. We will give you a call, Justin. If you called us and you left us a message, then I would say usually you need to wait about, give us at least 24 hours to give you a call back, because we get a lot of phone calls and there's only, a few of us working on the phones. So it can take a little bit of time. So I apologize, Justin, if it's taking a little long, but I will make a note for us to get back to you, okay? And call us again. If you don't hear from us, if we happen to miss your call and don't call back in 24 hours, call us again, please, because we want to make sure that we talk to you, okay? Little Awake, so in continuation of your question, you're asking, do they have to go back to Mexico for 10 years? So, the type of case that I try to do for most of my clients does not involve them having to go outside. Okay. Arshdeep Singh is asking, can an immigration judge terminate asylum if you have an I-130 approved and an I-485 filed? What a great question. So yes, they would technically have the power to terminate your case, but underneath Trump, they're not going to terminate your case. Okay, Arshdeep. What will happen instead is that you will need to have your I-485 decided by the judge. The judge will have a hearing on your adjustment of status. So even though they're not going to terminate your case at this point unless we have a change in the leadership that allows them to do that again. But the judge still has the power to help you get your green card. So it's not, all hope is not lost. Okay. All right. I have a question from Sunny. Hi. If you send additional evidence without RFE, can it delay your case? Well, so if you have a receipt, you can ask, make sure you write out what case it belongs to, and you can ask them to supplement your case. But if, it should not delay your case, okay? But I would suggest that you wait for an RFE, but if you realize before getting an RFE that something might be missing or something might help your case, you always have the power to do what's called the supplemental or interfiling for your case, okay? Sometimes we have to do that. Yes. So Christine, you're saying you call, but no answer. We're definitely having a very high call volume. I would say that we always have somebody answering the phone. Either it's a live person or it's my answering service. So you have to leave a message, Christine, okay? And if you don't hear back from us in 24 hours, then feel free to give us a call back. Hi, Pamela. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, let's see what other questions I have. Okay, do I know what will happen to people who have individual hearings scheduled while the immigration court is closed? Okay, Julia. So if you have had an individual hearing scheduled and the court becomes postponed, what the court will do is that they will reschedule it for you. And right now, we've been getting reschedules of our hearings. The new dates that we've been getting for the New York courts are basically next year. So Julia, keep an eye on your mail, talk to your lawyer. And also, you can always check the status of your case by calling the hotline for EOIR, which is 1-800-898. Your status may not be up to date right away, but they do usually update with your new hearing dates. Okay, I would give it about 30 days. Okay, so I have another question from someone on TikTok who's asking, my uncle had an AOS interview November 2019, married to a US citizen, no update, what can we do? So what you should do, if your interview was in 2019, it's been almost a year and there's no update, there's a few things that you can do. Number one, you can create a service request by calling the USCIS customer service line, okay? You can submit an electronic request online. You can request congressional assistance from the congressman or congresswoman in your district. And next, you can, if things take way too long, like let's say you're waiting 2-3 years and nothing has happened, you can sue USCIS in federal court, okay? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's definitely something you can try, especially in the very egregious cases where you file something and nothing is happening for years, okay? Sometimes you have to force the government to make a move. So I hope that helps. I have a question from Mike, who's asking, my wife applied for my I-130 and I have deportation. Can they still deport me? So if you have an unexecuted order, so let's just say you have a deportation order and you never left the US, then you do need to be a little bit careful. I would say, give me a call, Mike. This is definitely something that you want to discuss with an attorney to make sure that things are done properly, because if you have an unexecuted order of removal and then you don't file certain applications to fix that, then if you show up for an interview, then it may not be good news. Okay, so I would say give me a call. Hi, I've got some attorney friends who are stopping in to say hi. Hi, Attorney Obi. Okay, so I have another question from Sonia, who's asking, my husband has been in Mexico for 10 years now. How do I prove he's been out of here for the 10 years? Okay, that's very good. So that means that if he had an issue, Sonia, then hopefully that's fixed with the time that he spent over there. There's various ways to prove, if he flew out, then there might be flight records. You can get bank records, other statements to show that he was living there. If you're sending him money, he's sending you money from there. There's various ways to prove it. Sometimes he might still, depending on why he was out of the country for 10 years, he might still need to file for a special permission to re-enter. So give me a call if you need some help, Sonia, okay? Aranza is asking, can I help with the case in Utah? Yes, I can, Aranza. So as an immigration lawyer, I actually have the ability and authority to practice immigration law everywhere. Immigration is global, and it's also nationwide. So I can practice immigration everywhere. I have clients everywhere. Actually, I have clients in so many different states. And if you have a case in court, it's a little bit different. Because court does require some special considerations, but if you're filing for something else, give me a call, and even if you have a case in court, maybe there's still something else that I can do to help you understand your options. So don't feel shy to call me, please. Okay. All right, I have a question from Duan Babu, who's asking, ma'am, my asylum case was denied, then I'm going to appeal. I'm waiting 18 months. How long do decisions for appeal take? So Duan, I really can't answer that for you because appeals have special considerations. There's briefing schedules, sometimes there's a hearing. I would say discuss with your lawyer about how long it would take. Jessica, hi, nice to see you. Okay, so let's see some other questions. All right, so someone's asking, Tony is asking, regarding deportations, can you work with past deportation orders, or is it just the current deportation order? So again, everything depends. Tony, thank you for your question. Everything depends on your case. Depends on what type of case I'm able to do for you. What's the reason why you got a deportation order? And so it really doesn't matter when it was issued. It depends on what it was for, whether there's any underlying criminal convictions, and what sort of case that I'm able to do for you. Because some things can be fixed. Sometimes a deportation order can be, not removed per se, but it can be kind of fixed through certain applications. Other times it can't, okay? So Tony, give me a call. Okay. Shanna's asking, sorry if I already answered about the fee. Yes, so yes, Shanna is asking, saying, I watched a previous live where you mentioned fee increases on October 2nd. Did they go up or are they postponed? Shanna, the court, again, the courts have stepped in to save the day for right now. The courts, they basically enjoined the fee increase. So there was no fee increase on October 2nd, but it's just a court order for right now. It's not permanent. And I don't know what will happen. I don't know if the fees will actually go up or if they'll go back down. Who knows? So that's why I'm encouraging everyone to just get cases filed as soon as you can, because if the court decides that they no longer need to enjoin the fee increase, that means the fees will go up right away again. Okay, Shanna? I hope that helps. All right. So someone's asking, what are the chances that DHS will go to BIA to appeal someone if they win their case in immigration court? So, I think it really depends on a court jurisdiction by jurisdiction basis. Most of the times, if you get granted something, the ICE might reserve appeal to appeal your win. They might just do it just to do it, just to make you sweat. Other times, they might actually appeal the approval that you got from, or the grant that you got from the judge. It really depends kind of on on an office by office basis. So unfortunately, Sohail, the most that you can really do is wait for those 30 days to finish and see what happens. Okay. And if they appeal it, go to court and see what you can do there. Okay, let's see. All right. So I have a question from Maria Rojas. Who's asking, one parent has a DUI, but charges were dropped. Can we still put an application in? They entered illegally. So first of all, it's going to depend on what type of application. But if the charges were dropped, it sounds like there was no conviction, and the conviction itself is really what is most important. Of course, your parent will have to disclose the history anytime they're asked. If they don't disclose that they were charged with something, then it would probably create a problem for them. But if the charges were dropped, that means there's no conviction, which is a good news. All right. I have a question from Cynthia Arman, who's asking, we applied for a U visa February 2019. How many years do we have to wait to get a work permit? So Cynthia, unfortunately, the U visas are taking like more than 5 years at this point, I believe. So you cannot get a work permit on a U visa until that application is approved. So you just have to keep on waiting, Cynthia. But it sounds like, maybe, hopefully you have a very good case that's going to get approved. So have some faith in that. All right, let's see. What are the chances? Okay, I already answered this question. Ushna is asking, I live in New York. I applied my passport on October the 3rd. Do I have any idea when I received my passport? So Ushna, I cannot answer any questions about passports because I have no idea what the passport agency does. But from what I understand, it's taking a long time to get passports. Creek Pactoon is asking, can you marry a U.S. citizen if you cross the border, ask for asylum, and you marry for citizenship? So yes, you can still, even if you entered unlawfully and you applied for asylum, you can still get married to a citizen and do either a waiver process, or if you qualify for the self petition, do that. So it's still possible to get a green card even if you applied, if you entered unlawfully, or even if you have applied for asylum. But keep in mind that if you are in the court, then you have to go through the court system, because think of it this way: if the court has already started a case against you, then you're kind of stuck in their house. It's like you're stuck at a dinner table until the host tells you that you can leave. So that's the scenario. Okay, Ruby Red is asking, we sent an I-944 along with an AOS without supporting documents. Please add more information. So you can add more info, you can supplement your application, or you can wait until you get a request for evidence. All right, so Jane, hi, how are you? Okay, so Chow is asking, I'm the beneficiary and also the sponsor because my US citizen spouse isn't earning income at the moment. Do I need to stay with the same H1B employer at the time of the green card interview? So Chow, if you are getting a green card through an employer, then you should definitely stay with the employer at the time of your green card interview. You might want to be staying with them even after you get your green card, because if you leave the employer soon, then it might create a problem for you. Okay, so Jessica's asking, I want to talk to you. I need an appointment. Can I do AM? You have to call, Jessica. I only have certain available times. You have to check with my, whoever answers the phone to see what's available, or you can actually check online. So whether I'm available in the morning just depends on if I have an opening. So I hope that helps. Okay. All right, let's see what other questions I have. I have a question from Miss Mack, who's asking, the NVC was approved documents in March, and the application will go void if the applicant turns 21. You may want to just notify the consulate that somebody might be aging out, but also the applicant might be protected underneath the CSPA. So you should definitely consult with an attorney about that, Ms. Mack. I hope that helps. All right, I see my friend German. Hi, German. Nice to see you. Okay. So give me a second, guys. I just have a lot of repeat questions. So I'm just going through. Okay, Julia is asking another question. If I decide to move and transfer my case out of New York to Florida before individual hearing, what will happen with my hearing? So this is a very good, important thing for you to know. If you're in immigration court and you have a hearing coming up and then you move, you first of all, make sure you update your address with the court. You are actually required to update your address within a week or two of moving. And you don't want to fail to do that, because if the court sends you any hearing notice and it goes to the old address or wrong address and you don't get it, then you might, get an in absentia order of removal, which is not fun to have, okay? Next, if you move, your case should technically change. Like the location of your court should change. So the jurisdiction should follow you wherever you live. So if you're moving from New York to Florida, then your court should change from New York to Florida. And that means that you'll have a new hearing date, you will have a new judge, and it will probably delay the process a little bit, okay? All right, guys. So Aranza is asking, what kind of questions do I ask for a consultation? And my dad doesn't speak English. So, okay, so even though my Spanish, I don't know if Aranza, if they speak Spanish, my Spanish skills are not that great, but my assistants are always there to translate. And if you speak a different language and you need a translator, you have to let us know in advance. And most of the times we can get somebody on the phone to translate, okay? But it depends on, what language it is and whether an interpreter is available, okay? I hope that helps. All right, I'm just gonna take a few more questions, and I'm also gonna leave you with something today. Hi, Liz, nice to see you. All right. So somebody is asking, is USCIS still sending NTAs for all denied change of status every time? I don't believe that they're sending an NTA all the time, but for some case types, if you're out of status when the case is denied, they might. I don't know if they're sending it for everything, because I frankly just don't know. And with the government delays, I don't really know how active ICE currently is with their procedures. Laura is asking, how likely is the chance that I won't have to go back to Mexico if I'm under DACA? So if you're under DACA, DACA really stands for deferred action, and deferred action is a great protection. It means that the government is not going to remove you. They're not going to send you back. They're not going to take action against you. You have to maintain your DACA, of course, and you cannot have like a disqualifying crime that would cause you to lose DACA. But Laura, you should be okay. You should not, nothing's going to happen to you, hopefully, as long as you maintain your DACA, okay? Okay, I'm just going to take one more question. So this is a very good question. Mr. Skyline is asking, is emergency Medicaid considered a public charge? So emergency Medicaid, as long as it's purely an emergency basis, is not considered something that will harm you underneath the public charge rule. If you're taking Medicaid on a long-term basis, then that's a different story. But an emergency Medicaid that you take for an emergency is generally considered to be safe, okay? And it's actually in there along with the questions. That's why the question on the forms actually specify, did you take anything aside from emergency Medicaid? If it's anything besides emergency Medicaid, then you would probably have a problem. All right. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of like losing my voice right now. So I've been talking all day, not just here. Okay, so let me see just for a couple of questions. And guys, thank you. I apologize. I know I will not be able to get to everyone's questions, but thank you for joining in. And German, thank you. He's saying best lawyer. I'm so glad I work with her. German and I is my client. We go way back, and now I'm his client. So if you see beautiful photographs of me, it is from Mr. German Marin. He's right there, Mr. Marin NYC. He's on TikTok and Instagram. All right. So yeah, so Cynthia Janet is asking, my attorney said I have a strong case because I'm a victim of domestic violence and have proof. That's good. So Cynthia, so let's talk about this. One of the biggest types of cases that I do are for people who have been victims, and they, and I don't want to say victims, because what you should consider is that, if you have been mistreated by your spouse, right? If you've been mistreated by your spouse, you're married to a U.S. citizen or to a resident, and you don't have any status, a lot of times we endure treatment that is not 100% right? In order to not lose any immigration benefit, or because we're scared something might happen. If that happens to you, where you are in a relationship with or you're married to a U.S. citizen or to a green card holder, and your spouse is not treating you well, you do have some options. So make sure you give me a call. And if whether you have evidence, whether you don't have evidence, everything relies on the attorney that you work with and how well that we could work together to find the evidence to make your case. So a lot of times people think that I don't have a case because I never went to the police, or I don't have any documentation. Don't worry about that. That's why you work with a lawyer, to brainstorm about how to make your case stronger, get affidavits from witnesses, find text messages, all these things we think of doing, especially because the government knows that it's very hard to find evidence in those sort of cases, okay? All right, so that's it. I'm gonna be ending today. I hope everyone has a great day. Be well, be safe, and I hope to see everyone next week. And please don't forget to subscribe to my page, and make sure you click the bell so that you get notifications every time I do a live, because sometimes I just do it unannounced. All right, guys, take care.